Hello, let us talk about One for the Money by Janet Ivanovich, the first in the Stphn Plm crime mystery novels, where Stphn Plm is a skip tracer, a bounty hunter, tracking down. So at this point, mostly dudes to get earn a percentage of the bounty of the bond that has been posted for them that they have bounced on. This is the first book, so she is been fired from her lingerie saleswoman position. I think she's a buyer, divorced, is definitely on hard times, has had her gets her car repossessed, has had to sell furniture for kind of food. All her credit cards are maxed out. She is desperate. She just needs something to do. This is set in the 90s. She's very much got the 90s fashion. It's a lot of bike shorts and big hair in here. This is set in Trenton, New Jersey in general. And yeah, she's born and raised, and Ivanovich does a fairly good job, it seems to me, as someone who's not familiar with this area, of kind of giving you the texture of it. And like, yes, Stephanie is someone from New Jersey and knows all the people, and indeed that's what leads to the kind of limited success that she has. I like that at the beginning of this book, she does not know what the hell she's doing. She makes a lot of mistakes. She makes a lot of dumb mistakes. I think, first time she opens a door on the guy, he takes her handbag away from her, which has got her gun and her, whatever, all the handcuffs and everything else in it, and just like tosses it over her shoulders, like, I'm not coming with you, and slams the door in his face. She has help, kind of inexplicable help, in the person of Ranger, who is, yeah, he's a helpful bounty hunter who's like, he just helps her. He kind of like, gives her, he says he's kind of being Henry Higgins, and really kind of aid somebody this woman, if she actually got good at what she was doing, could take business away from you. It doesn't really make sense, at least not in this book, unless of course, I get the sense from later books, he becomes more involved with her. There's might be a thing there. This is definitely a book where there is a woman at the center and there's guys around her. There's Ranger, the very significant guy. Well, actually, there's a couple. The other significant welcome guy is Joseph Joe Morelli, who is a cop who is disgraced, has been arrested, got a bond for like $100,000 and skipped it. And she's like, oh, if I can get him, I can get $10,000. And they have a history. And indeed, this book kind of starts out, you can tell there's a couple of things that mark this book as being written in 1994, which pains me because for me, 1994 is yesterday. But 1994 is, 30 years plus, and in the actual world. And it opens with like, oh, here they are as kind of kids, young underage kids, and they're fooling around doing stuff. And I think it's supposed to be kind of a cute kind of dirty story, but it's a cute dirty story about like underage kids, which as an old geezer is like, I don't know if I'm particularly that comfortable reading it. There's more stuff on that front. So that's Joseph Joe Morelli, who she's hunting down through this book, who she has a somewhat adversarial relationship with, but he's also maybe not as guilty as he seems. He's definitely not dirty. She and him have a kind of antagonistic, but in kind of a semi quasi romantic kind of way. Well, more than romantic way. Throughout the book, it's basically implied at the very beginning that we break off a scene from them, and then the next scene she's back at the her boss's thing, all sweaty and mussed, which it's like apparently they maybe just took a break to fuck, but we that just gets implied in the book. There's another guy in this book, Benito Ramirez, who this is where you kind of get into like, okay, it's the 90s, and like we're not going to have content warnings in this book, but Benito Ramirez is a boxer, but more pertinently, he is a sadist, a rapist, and kind of portrayed as just mentally ill, like completely out of control. But is also a very successful boxer. So it seems like the guy that manages him is like kind of protecting him or nursing him along because he's a money ticket. But he quickly becomes a stalker and tries to assaults Stephanie several times. And it's kind of this is where you get into the kind of the tone thing of this thing, because it is very quippy. It is very kind of lighthearted. There's a lot of funny stuff in here. But then you just get straight on. A threat of rape. There's multiple rapes in this book. There's really horrific violence towards female characters in this book. It's a real clash, and if there's the things that kind of mark this book as being much older, this is not. This is like, yeah, we're gonna have jokes and we're gonna have rape at the same time, and it's just like, oh boy. I mean, nowadays, like, if I was actually monetizing my videos, I wouldn't even say the word rape. I would be afraid. I would use code words. Back here in books like this, it's like, yeah, we can have jokes, we can have rape, and that's fine. So that is something to be. I guess it's a warning. A warning in this book. Sometimes I roll my eyes when I come across trigger warnings in books, but then I think about stuff in my own life that it's like, oh, I would like a warning about, are we gonna get stuff about suicide in a book, because maybe I have to be in a certain mood to be able to get that because of my own personal history. So I kind of do respect trigger warnings. This is so pre-trigger warning, and also pre a sensitivity, a kind of and maybe an oversensitivity and an over gentleness that we have nowadays. But yeah. I mean, this got made into a movie at a certain point. Sounds like they lost the charm of Stphn Plm along the way. But there was also kind of complaints about, there's kind of a tone. There's a clash of tones. There's the wackiness, and then there's this extreme violence. And it's like, well, nope. That was a part of this book, and maybe because it's a novel, maybe just because of the talents of vnvch being so charming and her characters being so charming, is able to kind of overcome that, or at least we're able to overcome that maybe better at the time. So yeah. Overall, I mean, this is not a big mystery book. There's kind of an economy of characters where it's like, okay, there's only a certain number of characters in the book, so obviously it had to be that person who's the mastermind behind all that, and that definitely falls to this. This is introducing Stphn Plm. This is getting you into kind of her being a wacky broad. She is a broad. She's it's very much that kind of a thing of she's like, she likes her guys. She kind of laughs off kind of, stuff. There's at one point where Ramirez has assaulted her, and she says, well, I'm not going to report it to the police because it would hurt my cred with the police. They wouldn't look at me as a proper bounty hunter if I came crying to them for help, which is kind of rough. It's probably accurate to the times. But that actually fits with Stephanie's character as well. So yeah, this was narrated by CJ Crit, who does a good job. This is a narration at the time that the book was published. It's hilarious because it's still in the recording. It talks about how, you can call or you can you can order it and get it shipped to you, the audiobooks by mail, and stuff like that. So it's time capsule that way. It's very time capsule, like fashion wise, attitudes towards violence against women in general. She has points where she's vulnerable, and she looks to guys for help. There's which is another thing that I would be less of, or it would get more turned of her being hard as nails. And I mean, she is tough, but so I don't know if I'm going to read more of these. I was curious about it because I was reading The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins, which is a very different kind of weird odd kind of fantasy book by him. Fantasy science, I would call it fantasy, book by him. But there's a hard-bitten war veteran guy in here who ends up in prison, and he says, "Oh, I started reading Janet Ivanovich, and she's funny," and I enjoyed those novels, and it was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll try one of them next. So I can see why a hardened war veteran guy would like these kind of books. I don't know for me. It was more engaging for just, the 1994 was a long time ago, and just to get my old brain to kind of realize that, like, okay, that's like, over 30 years now. This is like the 25th anniversary edition, this cover that I got, but it's more so now. So yeah. It's a fun read. It went by. It went a fun listen. It went by very quickly. And I mean, there's 31 more of these books out there, so you could always dip. You'd have a lot to read if you really enjoyed the series. All right, I will leave it there. More videos later.